the Acting Director, Tax Policy and Advisory Department of the Federal Inland Revenue Service with vast experience over time. Also, we have Ms. Alberta Owen, ACTI, who is the head Tax Risk and Fraud Detection Unit of the Tax Automation Department of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. To kickstart with, I will want to pick this question with Bolanle to say, can you explain to us how self-assessment under Section 23 works in practice and how it connects with the obligation to file annual returns under Section 55 of CITN? Bolanle, your view.
The moderator. Like you rightly said, we're already in the month of return filing, which is June, the last month in which companies whose end of the accounting period falls in December 31st are required to file their annual return with the service on or before the end of June 30th. The Section 53 of the Company Income Tax Act, as amended, and Section 55 of the same Act are very well connected, in the sense that while Section 53, which is self-assessment by a company to tax, requires a company to assess itself to tax upon completion of an accounting period and having prepared its financial statements, will have identified its turnover, its costs, its profits, is required to compute its tax and pay such tax as well as file return with the service on or before the due date. While Section 55 is so connected with it by providing guidelines on what is the component of the return you are supposed to file, what constitutes the return you are supposed to file, when are you supposed to file, and the penalty for failure or for late filing. So as we can see, companies are required to self-assess themselves without prompting by the service and file the return within the stipulated time, as well as file the required documents as listed in Section 55 and do that within the stipulated time. The documents required include the audited accounts, the tax computation and capital allowances computation, evidence of payment of taxes, and some other one that we shall talk about later.
Thank you very much. I was about going into that, but you quickly delved into it. But I want you to give a comprehensive of the required component. I'm still staying with you, Bolanle. Required component for our professionals here to what are the valid of a valid annual tax return under Section 55, and how can the company ensure they submit all this necessary documentation? Before I come to, when you give those documentation, then I can take up Alberta, who is the IT guru, to let us know whether we, the old generation, can plug into what they are doing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwade. Like I was already mentioning, Section 55 provides that a company shall submit the audited accounts of its business for the immediate financial year end, the tax and capital allowances computations, duly self-assessment form, which shall be attested by the director or secretary of the company, evidence of tax payments, either in whole or parts. For non-resident companies that derive income in Nigeria or that are taxable in Nigeria, can you hear me?
Yes,
are required to us to submit their full audited financial statements. One, then the financial statement of the Nigerian operations attested to by an independent, qualified or certified accountant in Nigeria. They are also expected to submit the tax computation schedule based on the profits attributed to Nigerian operations, as well as a true and correct statement in writing containing the amount of profit from each and every source in Nigeria. They should also complete the company income tax self-assessment forms. So these are the basic documents to be submitted at the point of filing of annual return.
Thank you very much, Bolanle, for those in-depth of some of the breakdown of what is expected of us, because we need to speak to this. We are professionals, consultants are connected to this program, and they need to have an in-depth knowledge of all this, because when you don't have understanding of what to file, how will you definitely protect the interest of your client and also do what is right on the part of the people? So you've listed all those things out, and I believe that listeners have actually picked one or two things, but I'll still come back to you. Let me pick up on Alberta. Bolale has actually shared with us a great list of all the documents that is expected of us. And like you know, the ease of doing business give room for so many organizations to come on board year in, year out. And you always have first timer. As an expert, you know, with the Tax Promas platform, I want to ask, what are the basic things that a professional or a businessman that is joining us needs to understand while he's actually filing some of these things? What supports is there from the aspect of the tech people in making sure that as first timer, they have it seamless so that they can ensure full compliance with Section 55 as their obligation? Alberta, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. So I'll start from the beginning, from registration. So management has made it easy that you don't have to walk into a tax office to register. You can self-register yourself as a business, as a consultant registering for his client. All you need is your incorporation details, right? Once you put that in, the email you use to register in CAC, an OTP will be sent to that email or the phone number, whichever one you choose, and then you continue your registration from there. Now, very importantly, a lot of times during the registration process, because some fields are not compulsory, we tend to skip it, and that causes a few issues for us during our filing. For example, commencement date and accounting year end. Now, those two are very important for you to take note of during your registration, because if any of those dates are wrong, the system will pick either the date you registered or it will pick 1900. And then that gives you, for example, for the minimum tax, imagine the system is picking 1900 as your commencement date. That means you'll be paying minimum tax when you're not liable to pay. And then you'll be confused. I'm not liable. Why is it giving me such? So those are some little errors that we make during registration that causes issues in the long run. Now, that's the part of registration. For the filing process, if your registration information is wrong, the forms that are going to be available for you to file will also be wrong. So imagine if the system picks today's date, 12th June 2025, as your counting year end because you did not want to use as your accounting year. It automatically places you as 12th June annually for you to file your annual returns, which may not actually be your accounting year end. So the forms that will be available to you will always come as accounting year end 12th June for subsequent years. And that will be an issue for you. Because in the year you're registering, obviously you're not due to bring in your annual returns because you're either less than 18 months from commencement or 6 months from incorporation. So you might not notice it immediately. But when it's time for you to file your returns, you now realize that the form there is an incorrect form. If you have such cases, right now you have to come into the physical tax office and do a request for the tax controller to approve it to be changed for you. But if you do it right from registration, you have a seamless form and a seamless filing to go with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alberta. And I must say that these are part of the privileges one enjoy, taking in the program CITN taxation, and you took it from the registration point. And it gives me that mind to say when the foundation is wrong, they always say, what would the righteous do? So you don't get it right at the registration point, and you now start building on it. All you'll be building is it can definitely be eroded by certain things that it is. And you've just made mention to say, one, an OTP will be sent to what you used in carrying out your registration with CAC. A lot of people have multiplicity of email, and that might be another confusion on that part. So professionals, let's get hold of this, at least to be consistent in what we're doing, so that you'll be saying that the system is not working. They said I will get OTP. Meanwhile, you use a different email as at the time you are registering with CAC, and now you are using a different email. But I'm sure people will ask questions to that. And also speaking to the dates, data, when you mention 19,000, which is the default by the system, I'm of the opinion that by the time such person get the liability, we'll just turn down and say FRS is a scam, not knowing that he has not done something right. But let me save you some breath there, Alberta, and let me come to Bolanle. Bolanle, I understand the fact that we have this failure on the part of the people, but I want you to reiterate to our members and our listeners, what are the filing deadline for annual returns under Section 55? And if possible, specify penalties that are applied for late submission.
Thank you, Mr. Okwade. Before I go to that question, let me quickly conclude the second part of the last question that you asked in terms of how will companies, get to file their return as, as expected. I would like to advise that companies or taxpayers are expected to keep adequate records of their business transactions on a day-to-day basis. It is from this this document that financial statements can be produced. And when they have these documents, kept, as and when due, it will be easy for them and timely for them to prepare their financials. A lot of companies or taxpayers are found wanting in this aspect. So they now start running helter-skelter to prepare their financial statements or end up preparing in incorrect financial statements. We also advise that taxpayers should have a good understanding of the relevant tax law that apply to their businesses. Pioneer companies, small businesses, NGOs should try to understand the relevant sections of the law that apply to their businesses and prepare ahead what is required of them in filing returns. Thirdly, it is advisable that companies should not wait the last month, which is June. The law says returns should be filed 6 months after your within 6 months after your accounting period. As much as possible, if it is practicable for a company, it can be done within that 6 months, not necessarily in June, to avoid the issue they're going to have on rush during that period. Then we also advise that taxpayers should have a good understanding of how tax promise works. Just like my colleague explained, what are the errors you could make that could cause, challenges for you in filing. Ask questions, go to our website, read documents about all this so as to assist you in filing on time and seamlessly. Then lastly, there may be need to engage professionals. That's whereas you cannot be businessmen and also be professionals in taxation or in accounting, where your business level has gotten to a point that you need to engage professionals to help you do this accounting, taxation in such a way that you find filing seamless, then they are advised to do so. Then going to a timeline for filing under Section 55. For a company that has been in business, like we said, for more than 18 months, you are expected to file return not more than 6 months after the end of your accounting year. If your accounting year ends in December 31st, then you have between January 1st and June 30th to file your return. In the case of a newly incorporated company, within 18 months from the date of incorporation, or not later than 6 months after the end of its first accounting period, whichever is earlier. It's either within 18 months from the date of its incorporation or not later than 6 months after the end of its first accounting period. Then for penalties for non-compliance, which we don't expect, we expect our taxpayers to comply and file as and when due. But should it happen, Section 53 prescribed penalty as follows. In the first month in which the non-compliance exists, there will be 25,000 naira in the first month. In the first month, the failure occurs. Then in subsequent months, the company will be liable to 5,000 naira in each subsequent month that the failure occurs. So these are the basic penalties and the filing requirements.
Sincerely speaking, you've given a deep insight into some of those things. First, advising our professionals and those businessmen that is there. The one that interests me more is you emphasizing the fact that you need to get a professional separating the business from the profession. Get a professional to assist you in some of the things that you need to do so that you have it easy. And that's why we can put food on the table of fellow professionals so that they can guide them on the day-to-day computation and they have an understanding of the tax law, which is expected. You concluded by letting us know that the stipulated period is 18 months from the date of incorporation or 6 months, after the period, whichever comes earlier. Before I come to Alberta, I want to ask again, Bolanle, for small, medium enterprise, not too long, we had this introduction of relief for small companies of 25 million on then. I know the new Finance Act, I think, has upped it up to the 50 million. That's what is being suggested in the new tax reform. But even with the old one of 25 million, are there simplified return filing procedure for small companies, particularly regarding audited account and the statement of affairs options?
Thank you very much. These small companies are required to also file return under Section 55, and the service has the leeway to design, maybe a simplified form for such kind of businesses. But currently, they are expected to still follow the current set of returns that I read earlier. But I'm aware that work is ongoing to make sure that we have simplified forms for small businesses.
Okay, work is ongoing to have a simplified, processes for some of these things. Thank you very much, Bolale. Alberta, let me come to you because Bolale has been giving us an insight into it. And, the major challenge we are faced with is the process of people understanding this automation. Before now, we all go to office and we sign papers here and there. But we understand that FRS has gone further, going the way of tax promise, which has sincerely transformed tax administration in the country. Adoption and the user experience of this tax promise. And how is the tax platform, has it improved the taxpayers' usability and efficiency? Alberta, you picked my question?
Yes, I did. Okay, thank you very much, sir. So Tax Promax has been running for about 4 years now, and we have improved on I'll say on a monthly basis, because user experience has come in, feedback has come in, and if we notice, there have been a lot of adjustments from deployment till date. Now, one of the adjustments that have been made is the platform is now easier to work with. However, there's some misconceptions. For example, for those in some specialized businesses, like the free zone entities and the pioneer status, first things first, you have to be set as those types of businesses by the tax office, right? So when you look at your taxpayer details on your dashboard and you are a free zone entity or a pioneer company, and your status for free zone or pioneer, as the case may be, is off, it's already a trigger, because that means the system will look at you as a regular taxpayer. That's one part of it. So when you notice it, is to inform the tax office where your team is domiciled. You write to the tax controller, informing him that, see, on my platform, it's not showing my actual status. Another thing that happens with pioneer companies, in the period of pioneer, those assets are not supposed to come in while you're filing, because those assets are not seen by the system. So you'll notice that those that bring in those sets of assets, the system will be calculating the capital allowance, which does not apply to their nature of business. So if you're under Pioneer, don't bring in the assets until you've exited Pioneer. So on your production, the filing you're going to be doing should bring in all the assets, because losses are to be seen as if the assets starting from that day. So that's the point the assets should be coming in. So those are some small things that also affect computation. Like for those in NGOs and non-profit making businesses, we have a place that you can adjust your income and expenditure. Another thing for revenue, not all revenue figures are to put as revenue, the first line item. There's revenue, there are other income. So if you have, because most Nigerian businesses don't do just one nature of business. They have their primary nature of business, and then they have some other businesses they do on the side. So those some other businesses fall as other income. You should put them as other income. So the system recognizes them and adds where it needs to add and subtracts where it needs to subtract. So during filing, if we lump everything under revenue, it takes it that everything is tied to the line of business that the company is profiled under. So if the company is profiled as a business in contract, for example, it will charge you everything it's supposed to charge a business in contract. Meanwhile, you probably have some other lines of income that are not taxable. So if you put those ones under other income, you'll see the breakdown there. You'll be able to adjust for them in profit adjustments. You can adjust both for the income and for the expenditure if you need to adjust for them. For the ones you need to add back, you add back. For the ones you need to subtract, you subtract. That will help you to aggregate your filing properly.
That is nice, Alberta, explaining to us that we need to pay key details. You've identified some of these issues based on the day-to-day feedback mechanism you are getting from the user. And I can speak to it that I remember, like 2 years ago when we first hosted one of your people talking about this Pro Max, there has been tremendous improvement. I can affirm that, and we believe that as the users, react to some of the challenges, they will definitely know. If you are just joining us, I've been guesting Bolanle Aziz, the acting director for Federal Inland Revenue of the Department of the Tax Policy and Advisory Department, and also Alberta Owen, pardon me, the head of Tax Risk and Fraud Detection of the Tax Automation Department of Federal Inland Revenue Service. Permit me, I need to go on these very small commercials to pay some bills so that you can continue to listen to this program every month. On that note, technical, let me have the advert.
Are you tired of long queues and incessant visits to the tax office? What if we told you you could carry out all your tax-related activities from the comfort of your home or office? With the KWIRS self-service portal, everything you need is just a few clicks away at selfservice.kwirs.com. Here is what you can do. You can file your payee assessment, submit your annual returns, individual and corporate, request your tax clearing certificate, apply for your CRIN, which is the Kwara Resident Identification Number, get your indigent certificate, register for Hajj and pilgrimage, and make all payment due to Kwara State Government. No paperwork, no stress, no office visit, just fast, seamless, and secure service anytime, anywhere. Start now at selfservice.kwirs.com. Need help? Call 070-0695-9477 or email helpdesk@kwirs.com. KWIRS. Play your part, pay your tax.
Thank you very much and welcome back to the special edition, Democracy Day edition of the CITN Taxation and You, put together by our great institute, the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, holding every first Thursday. But because of the importance of democracy, we have chosen to bring this up this special day. And if you are just joining us, I have been speaking to erudite speakers who understand, who are professionals in their field on the issue of annual tax return and compliance reality, understanding the business process. And I've been guesting Mrs. Bolanle Aziz and Alberta Owe of the Policy Department and the Tax Promise Department. Let me use this opportunity also to appreciate and acknowledge our sponsors, the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, the Kwara State Internal Revenue Service. And I can say again that the platform is still open for you to sponsor some of the things that you're doing, either as a private entity or as a corporate organization. Always reach out to Dr. Kemi Oluwagbami, the head of corporate communication. I will definitely flag that as we proceed. Let me come back to you, Bolanle, on the topic of discuss as we have been having. You understand that as we continue to explore this compliance obligation under Section 25 of CETA, we need to touch on issues that affect many companies. And I want to ask, can you briefly explain what minimum tax means under CETA and how the timely filing of annual tax return affects companies' eligibility to enjoy this relief?
Thank you, Mr. Okwade. Section 30 of Company Income Tax Act provides for minimum tax, and this is the least tax payable by a company in a year of assessment, where one, a company's total assessable profits leads to loss. There's no assessable profit. It results into a loss. Or the total profits of a company result in a no tax payable. After you have computed your total profits, apply your tax rate, there's no tax for you to pay. Or the tax payable is less than minimum tax. Haven't computed your tax payable, you computed your minimum tax and compare your tax payable is less than minimum tax. In any of these three situations, a company is required to pay minimum tax. Then, how much minimum tax are you supposed to pay? The rate of minimum tax is 0.5% of gross turnover less frank investment income. 0.5% of gross turnover less frank investment income. We all know what frank investment income is, and gross turnover has been defined by the law. Apart from the companies that are exempt from payment of minimum tax, so such as the companies engaged in agricultural trade or businesses, small companies whose turnover is less than 25 million naira, and companies in the first 4 years of the first 4 calendar years of commencement of their business. Every other company that falls into the scenarios highlighted earlier will be required to pay minimum tax. With respect to relief.
Brilliant. And
I'm still talking about the relationship between the relief and late filing. Like it is said in the law balance, legal balance, he who must come to equity must come with clean hands. So a company that wants to benefit
must come with clean hands.
that want to benefit this opportunity of minimum tax is expected to file return as and when due. So it's a very connected requirement. So where a company fails to file during the time of filing, the approved time of filing, then its penalty will be the equivalent of the relief sought. That's what the law says. So it's encouraging companies to file on time so as to benefit this relief. Don't forget that other companies that are not benefiting the minimum tax relief will have filed as and when due and pay their taxes. So if yes, and pay their taxes as and when due. So if you are going to benefit the minimum tax relief, you are expected to file as and when due. Otherwise, your penalty will be the amount that is equivalent to the relief sought.
And I always ask people, why do you have to wait till the time last minute and you are being penalized when you can save such money and increase your staff salary, and they will be happy to give you more productivity rather than giving it to FRS and making FRS to look cleaner, look better, because they are getting more income because of your failure. So we want to encourage everyone. Bolanle has just said it. It's better you do it because it is not waiting till June. He said within the first 6 months. And that's why she has said, if you have the opportunity, do it before June so that it will not get into a rush. Thank you very much, Bolanle, for that wonderful insight. But I want to quickly go to this. We all know that things are changing. There are dynamics to things. And we have this taxation of non-resident company, operating in Nigeria, particularly in the digital economy. It's a space where a lot of things are happening. Can you please explain to us what significant economic presence means under the Nigerian tax law? Why is it significant in determining the tax obligation for non-resident companies?
Thank you, moderator. We all know that the world has become a global village through technology advancements, communication, and interconnectivity. As such, business transactions can be done across border without the presence of, without physical presence of human being, and income is being earned through digital platforms. As such, companies provide services, sell products across border using the digital platform. If that is the case, it means companies are earning money without necessarily coming to another country to sell their products. And for that purpose, Nigeria, poised itself to tap into the opportunity provided by this interconnectivity of the world by coming up with a significant economic order, which explains the provision of Section 13(2)(c) and E, respectively. How does it go? Where a non-resident company provides or supply digital services or digital products to Nigerians and earn income, such income will be liable to tax under the company income tax, subject to significant economic presence. And what determines significant economic presence is what we have in our SEP order. A company will achieve significant economic presence when its aggregate income from providing digital services or digital products to Nigeria reach or get to 25 million naira or its equivalent in other currencies in a year. In a year, a non-resident company has provided services to Nigeria consumers, and when you aggregate the income from such digital activities, it amounts to not less than 25 million naira or its equivalent. And the list of digital transactions or activities that can be done are already listed in the SEP order, such as online downloading services of digital content, transmission of data, the use of Nigerian domain or websites and all that, which we all do. We all buy products from Amazon and the rest. So where that is done, any company that has obtained that significant economic presence is now required to file return and pay tax as we have under the Section 55 of the company income tax. But where a company has not achieved such a significant economic presence, then it's not required to comply with that provision. In addition,
very wonderful submission.
In addition, where companies
let me interject. Let me okay. Proceed.
In addition, where a non-resident provides services to Nigerian residents, services such as professional services, consultancy services, technical services, and those services are provided outside Nigeria, but provided to Nigerian residents or a fixed base in Nigeria. For example, a Nigerian company has engaged a law firm to provide services for it right in the UK. So the law activities or the law services is done right in the UK, but it is being paid for by a Nigerian company. Such service is, or income from such service is liable to tax in Nigeria. However, where that is the only service provided to that Nigerian income, it's only withholding tax that will be applicable, which will be deducted by that Nigerian company upon payment to the non-resident company, and that will be the final tax. So this is the only case where income from such non-resident activity is going to be the final tax. Otherwise, if it's an income that has reached 25 million or exceeded 25 million or its equivalent in other currencies, then such non-resident company will be required to file tax return with Nigeria under Section 55 and pay tax. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bolanle Aziz, for that insight into the question. To all our audience, at the time, I will definitely open the platform for us to ask one or two questions before we definitely round up. Kudos to the Governing Council of our institute. They have graciously, extended the time of this program from 1 hour to 1.5 hours so that we can have deeper insight into some of the things happening. Because when you make good money, you are also contributing your own quota to the growth and development of the country, because it is on that point you'll be able to pay your taxes either to the Federal Inland Revenue Service or to the subnational. And I will soon open the platform so that it won't be the moderator asking my guest only the question. But let me come back to you, Alberta, on this issue of tax promise. I know that filing stress is often as a peak. Pardon me, I'm not being sarcastic, but Nigeria are used to late way of doing things. 9-minute rush, let me put it that way. And most of the time, systems are not actually prepared for that. Something that you should accommodate 1,000 people within a specific time, and suddenly 5,000 people are trying to go through the same channel. It will definitely give some problem. I want to ask Alberta, what avenue exists for taxpayer who faces technical issue when it's closing to this filing deadline? And does FRS offer formal escalation or complaint resolution mechanism that can safeguard that complaint the taxpayer is making, at least maybe to have a fair penalty on their part? They try their best, but maybe due to one technical glitch on the part of FRS themselves, they could not be able to make. I want you to address this question, Alberta.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So management has really been magnanimous and has pumped in a lot of resources into backing up the application to ensure smooth deadline period. We can testify that even as at last year, nobody had downtime because of the resources that was pumped in to support the application. The same thing is being done this year. In fact, management has even gone further to ask the tax offices to open up on weekends to be able to accommodate. So if you can't do it at home, come into the tax office, because tax office have self-service stations where you can use FRS resources. You can use their internet, use the system. They have desktop installed in offices that taxpayers can walk in or consultants can walk in to file on behalf of the companies. Now, for escalation, the tax office is always the first point of escalation because that's where your files are domiciled. So based on their recommendation, or if it is something they can handle, they escalate to the second and third point of escalation, depending on how serious it is. The first point is the tax office, the front desk officer, the tax controller. If it is beyond them, they will also escalate to the technical people, especially if it is a system glitch. But so far, the kind of resources management have pumped into the application, system glitches, there's a 99.9999% that there will be no system glitch.
Sincerely speaking, Alberta, you are very much confident of this particular thing. And I think there has been tremendous improvement, but definitely you should observe there will be. This question I'm going to pose to the two of you before I open the platform for our members to ask their question. And it's about this recurring concern bordering on withholding tax credits. I will want Bolanle from our perspective and what we are doing from the perspective of Promax. I want to ask, what steps is FRS taking to ensure timely and accurate migration of taxpayers withholding tax credit balance into Tax Promax for maximum utilization against current liability? I start with you, Bolanle.
Thank you very much. From the legal point of view, when a taxpayer has complied with the procedure for utilization of accumulated withholding tax in its accounts, the Tax Promax team will be responsible for ensuring that such credits are credited to the taxpayer. So, by my understanding, the taxpayers are expected to request for utilization where it has not been, credited to the account of the withholding tax for future payment of taxes. But what I have experienced is that taxpayers requesting to use withholding tax accumulated for income tax payment for other tax payment of other tax liability, which the law is not yet in support of. Probably until we have new laws that might be contained there. But currently, we do not have a provision for transfer of income tax for payment or settlement of VAT or CGT and things like that. I believe Alberta will provide more insight into its application on tax.
Yeah, I just decided to start from your side so that they can have the policy view of it. I know, when you said it from the legal perspective, everybody will do their own. Alberta can choose to say, this company looks like Cheson's company. And I think it's time for me to deal with it. So I'll bring it to you, Alberta, to say, what are actually those steps that you have actually put together to make sure that the people, you can give us practical example of things that have actually been done, what are actually in the process, because I know a lot of people are actually complaining about having, I have a question where somebody is already putting on the chat, and it's about this withholding tax credit. Can you give us an in-depth insight into this withholding tax issue?
Thank you very much, sir. So, where money is concerned, everybody's hearts are beating fast. They say where your
in fact, my
lies.
own ear too is actually top.
Well done, sir. So, again, management has been magnanimous to decentralize most of the processes to ensure that those that have their credit available can get their credit. Management is also working to integrate with external stakeholders to be able to ensure that all credits that have been deducted from taxpayers are being given to taxpayers in due course. However, not all taxpayers would be able to get their credits before the end of the due date. So the mechanism we put in place is using the wallet option, right? Pay all the cash elements that are not tied to withholding credit, and then just leave the portion of the withholding credit. Since the money is already with the service will do a reconciliation once the money comes in. But definitely you need to work with your tax office to say, okay, you would see in your withholding credit account when the credits drop for you. Some people will attest that their credits have been dropping because the revenue accounting department has been working with our external stakeholders to get this data and credit company, taxpayer companies, or as case may be, with credit so far. Not everybody has gotten, a good percentage have not gotten, but it's a work that is in progress and it's progressing fast. So on behalf of management, we're saying that you will get your credit. You might not see it today or before 30th June to be able to use. Irrespective of the fact that you've not seen it, that shouldn't make you not pay other taxes. Pay them, but pay using the wallet option. You on the line item for the tax you want to pay. So for example, if you're paying for 2024 financial year, on the line item that carries 2024 financial year, click on wallet option and then impute. If, for example, if you're paying cash for CIT, maybe a portion, you have credit of 1 million and your total liability is 1.2 million, you can pay the 200,000 cash element, pay the EDT cash element. If you're paying NITDA or NITDA, pay that, pay the PTF cash element. Those ones will wait for you in your ledger, pending when the withholding credit will come to reconcile and clear the whole assessment. Now, when you make your payments, a lot of people say, I didn't see the payments because they are not seeing the amount reducing. You might not see it reduce on that line under taxes due, but if you check your ledger, you see it as a credit that is in your ledger waiting for you. So that will also work. However, if you make payments and you cannot find it in your ledger, please and please escalate to the tax office that your TIN is domiciled so that we trace the payment to ensure that the payment is not hanging in one suspense account or the other. And once we're able to trace the payments, you'll get it. If you try the tax office means and it doesn't work, our help desk line is open. You can send a mail to help desk or you can call customer care and you will get your issues resolved, please.
Pardon me, let me interject you on that particular one. An average Nigerian, because I'm one, and we tell you that most helpline emails and phone call is like dead on arrival.
No, sir, it's not.
No.
What assurance can you give to my
that of
audience?
FRS works.
The one of FRS works. You just
Yes.
need to send a mail to helpdesk@frs.gov.ng. If you're not the type that likes to type mails, you can call our customer service from anywhere. If you're calling locally, you just use 020-9460-2700. If you're calling from abroad, you now do the +234-20. It's the same number. It's just that the +234 comes in for those that are not calling from within Nigeria. It works. You get resolved. Even if you don't get an instant result, they will open a ticket and start working on it.
I just needed to be sure, and I'm quite glad. I was asking you the question, and I saw Bolanle on the other side to say, no, it works. And that's very affirmative to give that assurance to our audience that things are changing. So you've listened and you've heard that the help desk and the customer care, they respond swiftly. One thing that an average Nigerian will want to say is acknowledging, that their mails have actually worked, and that you have actually said. And for lazy people that don't like writing or typing mails, that wants to speak, you've actually said the customer care line is actually open, which you have actually give that particular one to the number to us at this particular place. It's been a very insightful time, having Bolanle and Alberta on this call this particular morning. But pardon me, my audience, I need to pay some bills because it's important. I saw Alberta making loud that when it comes to money matter, everybody stands alert. And that's why I'm alert to make sure that I pay some bills so that continually I can have this program being featured every month to give you an insight, an in-depth analysis into current issues. On that note, the technical team, please let me have the next commercial.
Babe, I nearly broke my leg rushing out the door.
Oh no, I'm sorry, baby. Where are you rushing off to?
I'm rushing to the LIRS office to file my tax return. Nearly tripped on the stairs trying to answer your call.
Baby, come on. You can file your tax online without having to break a leg.
Yeah? Are you sure? You're laughing at me, Abby.
I'm serious. Okay, listen, I'm serious, baby. Listen to me. You can file your tax online using the eTax platform. It's easy and straightforward. Simply log on to etax.lirs.net using your payer ID and voila.
eTax is an automated electronic tax payment service that makes tax operations more convenient for taxpayers. Taxpayer registration for easy access for both new and existing taxpayers. eTax. Simple, quick, reliable, and secure. For more information on how to use the eTax services, log on to www.etax.lirs.net.
Thank you very much, and special thanks to our sponsors, Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, and Kwara State Internal Revenue Service. And like I said the other time, the platform is still open. Just reach out to the head of corporate communication of our institute, Dr. Kemi Oluwagbami, and definitely, whether you're a private company, a corporate organization, you see your product being aired with over 600 viewers, on our monthly program every month. At this point, I want to open the platform for questions from our audience so that it can be more interactive. Let me first recognize Mr. Peter Adebayo. Can you please unmute and ask your question, Mr. Peter Adebayo?
I hope I'm being heard.
Mr.
Can I be
Peter,
heard?
yeah, we are hearing you. Please, straight to your question.
All right. Thank you very much, my moderator. The question I want to ask centers around monitoring, tax audit, and tax investigation. And straightforward. When a monitoring exercise is in place but not concluded, an audit comes, what is the position of the revenue? Number two, when a tax audit is in progress and it has not been concluded, and investigation comes, what should the taxpayer do? I am aware that sometimes in October 2023, there was a circular signed by about 3 or 4 coordinating directors to the extent that when an audit has not been concluded and investigation comes, audit must defer. But in practice, you discover that this is not the norm. Can you shed more light on the position of revenue as far as these areas are concerned? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter Adebayo. Please, Bolanle and Alberta, you can note the question. I'm going to just welcome like 4 or 5. Thank you, Peter Adebayo. You can lower your hand. Let me welcome Mahmoud Labaran. Mahmoud, please unmute and ask your question.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me?
Very well. Straight to your question.
My question goes to the tax promo, because most of the time you will see your withholding tax credit, but you can't make use of it, even after several meeting the FRS service to look into the issue so that one can use the withholding tax credit to settle the CIT after payment of the necessary other taxes. So these are the challenges most of the time we face them. We don't know what the tax former officer in charge presenting that will say about the issue.
Okay, thank you very much. That is noted by Alberta. She will respond promptly to that. Olukunle, can you unmute and ask your question, please?
Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, sir. I just wanted to get clarification on the position of FIRS following the ruling on country-by-country reporting. So I would want clarification and then to understand the position of FIRS following the ruling of country-by-country reporting by the High Court. That's my question.
Okay, thank you. That is being noted. One thing I can guarantee you is that if you can't do justice to all the questions, we'll always respond back and give some of those things to them. Ibukun Oluwaseye, can you unmute and ask your question?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ibukun. Straight to your question.
All right, sir. So they mentioned that we can pay the cash position, cash part of the liability, then we leave the withholding in the wallet. So my question is, with the withholding, I mean the CIT, would that be liability on? Will they charge us, I mean, penalty and interest if we are waiting for the withholding tax to be credited to our tax promos? Then the second thing is that they can also help us share the helpdesk email and the number.
Okay, thank you very much. That is noted. Alberta will handle that question. I have maybe 2 more to go. I can see it building. Let me welcome Dr. Adeika. Dr. Adeika, can you go ahead? For those asking for the helpdesk email, it's actually being shared in on the chat box. You can visit that to have that. Alberta has shared that. Dr. Adeika, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, sir. My question goes to the FIRS team. It's on this. My organization is actually an academic institution, and we are not commercial organization, but audit team from FIRS do visit us. I want clarification on this. They pick observation on servicing of official vehicle, which was done by the roadside mechanic, and they were saying we should come and pay VAT. Also, our client that visited us from other places that lodge in hotel, and we pay their bills. FIRS said we should come and pay VAT or we should deduct VAT. I don't understand how this can go on. It's a bone of contention. Please, what is the right thing? We are not a commercial entity. We are an academic institution. All our major donors are TED fund, and whatever contract they give us, we pay the taxes duly. So please clarify to me.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much. I'm sure that Madam Bolanle and Alberta have noted that. We will respond in due course. The list keep building higher, but part of the things you do for me, once I don't call, just make sure that you drop your question in the chat box. It will be handled and we'll share it along. Let me welcome Charles Awuji. Charles Awuji. Charles Awuji, can you please unmute and ask your question?
Okay. Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Dr.
Hello, I can
Awuji
hear you.
Charles
Go ahead with your question.
Okay, my name is Dr. Awuji Charles Evans. The tax woman, I need clarification.
Are you still there, Charles?
Newly registered company. And then
Awuji, the network is really rumbling. Awuji, the network is seriously rumbling.
I'm wrong that the law says that a newly registered company. I'm with you, sir. Can you hear me, sir? Hello, sir.
Okay, it's better now. It's better now.
Hello.
Straight to your question.
Hello,
It's better
me,
now.
Sir?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, maybe Mr. Awuji, please type your question. Type your question in the chat room. It will be handled accordingly. Ado Mohammed Abubakar, can you unmute?
Clarification.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Session. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well, Ado.
Can you hear? Yeah,
Ado,
my question.
I can hear you clearly.
All right, my question is on an issue that has to do with tax promax. During registration, I think the consultant that registered our company on the tax promax, though he filled the form correctly, which I cited, but on capturing it, the FRS wrongly captured our accounting period. And when we did the initial filing, it went in successfully. But in the subsequent year, because of the duration, it didn't give us, it didn't allow us to file until we wrote and also visited the controller. And then the controller was able to work on the system at the back end, and then we were able to file. But then when they did that adjustment and corrected it, the earlier filing we did for our first year disappeared from the tax promax. So leaving the payment we made as a credit on the tax promax. We have written severally for that to be corrected, and it's yet to be corrected. So anytime we are filing that initial payment we made, because the filing as the debit of it has gone, we always see it as a credit, which the system is asking us to use. So please, how can this be rectified?
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Permit me at this juncture to yield the floor to Mrs. Aziz and Alberta. Let them respond to the initial questions that we've had, and let me see if we have the want of time to take more questions. Let me start with you, Alberta. I've always been picking up on Balanle. Pick those questions that you feel is related to you, and Madam will handle the other side.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So I'll start with the question of withholding, and then he's trying to use it and he cannot use it. So there are two types of withholding credits. There's the withholding, which is the final tax, as withholding on dividend and interest. If you have those kind of withholding, it's just going to be shown on your withholding account that the payer has paid on your behalf, but it's not credit note for you to utilize. So if you have those ones, it's going to be indicated there, dividend stroke interest. So those types of credit, no matter what you do, they are not available to you because those are final taxes. Then the ones that are credits will be available to you. So that might be an issue. So maybe you go back and log in and check if those credits are final taxes. Then the one of whether interest and penalty will be calculating when you pay the cash elements for the EDT and other cash elements, and then just leave the withholding elements pending. Yes, it is going to calculate. However, when the credit comes in, because the credit is a back year credit and the credits were there before the due date, that date automatically would clear the interest and penalty, because the interest and penalty is supposed to be on unpaid sum or unpaid sum after due date. So if, for example, the due date is June 2025 and those credits came in or were deducted before June 2025, the interest and penalty, it would show, but upon reconciliation, it will cancel itself out. If it doesn't, please escalate to the tax office. It will cancel. They will work on it to cancel it out if it doesn't go out automatically when they do the reconciliation. The one of wrong accounting dates that was later adjusted and your initial filing was disappeared. Until we see the system to know what happened, we can't really see much about that. But you need to work closely with the tax controller to ensure that it is regularized. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bolale, I want you to take up the other questions and do justice to them, noting them down.
Thank you very much, moderator. There's a question on an audit and investigation or monitoring being conducted simultaneously, on a company. And like the inquirer mentioned, the service has issued a procedural guideline on this. There cannot be audits and investigation being conducted at the same time on a company. Ideally, if investigation may come in if auditors have concluded their work and observe a trigger for investigation, or there are triggers for direct investigation on such company. And where such happens, that audit is currently ongoing and investigation has to come in, it has been concluded that the audit team allows investigation to continue. And if there is any issue, the responsible groups usually reconcile and determine who to go there. So it is not expected that the two teams should be there at the same time. Where the taxpayer has such concern, you may wish to write to the service for appropriate intervention. On the country by country ruling by the High Court, we will need our legal and prosecution department to tell us the status. We would like to know whether they have approved the case. So you could write to us. We'll provide adequate information on that. I also heard about payment of VAT by education institution being requested by auditors, if I get it correctly. In line with the Value Added Tax Act, institutions, organizations are not exempt from VAT. Only goods and services are exempt. So the fact that an institution is an educational institution does not mean that institution will not pay VAT where it consumes non-exempt items or services. So we need to know what actually transpired. When we have full details of what transpired, then we'll be able to advise appropriately. If what they have consumed are taxable items under the VAT Act, then they may have to pay VAT or show evidence of having paid VAT on them. But if they are, exempt items, then they'll be need to explain to the auditor that these are the items consumed under the VAT Act. I think those are the questions I was able to pick. I think I've been able to respond to them.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bolanle Aziz, the Acting Director for the Tax Policy and Advisory Department of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and my own sister, Alberta Uwe. I want to say that the next 10 minutes before we bring this program to a close, you can drop your question. I can see the reaction of Alberta on the chat box. She's definitely engaging my audience. And if you are still raising up your hands and you have some question to ask, somebody have asked that I should provide your details. So you're on the chat box yourself. It's in your hands because I too don't even have a better details, but she's my friend. So I don't want a lawyer to sue me by revealing her details. And so you can go to the chat box. It's been engaging. Ask your question there because we are gradually going to the end of the program to call it a quit. On a final note, let me welcome Bolanle Aziz for your parting shot. What do you want to say to taxpayer, to your institutes, and to the general public as a whole?
As an institute, as an organization, we'll continue to do our best to make tax administration easy and convenient for taxpayers to comply. As you can see through our tax formats, we continue to upgrade our tax formats. And as we have seen that we have already worked on the tax laws to make it easy to understand. And our processes are also being upgraded to ensure efficient and effective delivery of service to our taxpayers. For the taxpayers, we advise that we get conversant with our tax obligations, understand the tax law that relates to us, and comply with the tax provisions. I want to say on a final note that in my department, tax policy and advisory, we are open to receiving your inquiries and questions such that we can provide clarification, education with respect to the tax laws that will enhance and facilitate your compliance of tax obligation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Albert Uwen. Can you give us your parting shot to the institutes, your institute, FRS as a whole, and to the taxpayer and consultant?
Thank you very much to my institute. I would like to thank them for this opportunity to share our insights, because it brings us closer and makes working together a whole lot easier. And collaboration as a service is one of the points that we want to work on this year to make sure that we get the best out of everybody, because with collaboration, compliance is a whole lot easier. And then to the service, I'd like to use this opportunity to thank the management, because they've invested heavily to ensure that the application is a go. In fact, the service is currently working on the upgrade of the application, making sure that our concerns in terms of the user experience, the user interface, complaints that have come in, making it a whole lot easier. We're promising you that when you even notice the upgrade, but when you start working on the system with time, you're going to be, was this there before? Oh, yes, it's going to be a whole lot more interactive. We're bringing in all the contributions that have come in that have been good for the service, and it's going to blow your mind. Even in this withholding thing, following the new withholding regulation of last year, the implementation of it is going to be a smooth ride. It's going to reduce our errors because there will be real-time online validations, and a lot of things are coming in with the upgrade. We're really going to enjoy it. And then to my professional colleagues that are consulting, would like to appeal. A lot of our uploads that we upload as AFS, in fact, I've seen an upload of a picture. I've seen an upload of a blank sheet, and it doesn't help reconciliation, because when you don't give me the document I'm supposed to review, I'll have to come and stress you and disrupt your business and do monitoring and do audits and all of that. But if you give me everything I need to sit in my office and work with, I wouldn't need to disrupt your business. So I want to appreciate everyone for the time they've taken off. This is Happy Democracy Day, and we pray for a Nigeria that we'll all be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alberta. We can't have it on a better day like this, on a Democracy Day. This is what I call the insight for the people, by the people, and to the people. And that's what democracy is all about. We brought FRS closer to the people. And like Alberta said, collaboration is compliance. And with a lot of knowledge that has actually been taken of this program today, I want to say a big thank you to Mrs. Bolanle Aziz, FCTI, the Acting Director, Tax Advisory Policy, Department of FRS, and Alberta Howen, the Head of Tax Risk and Fraud Detection of Tax Automation, Department of FRS. It's been an insightful time. I hope when next we call, you avail yourself the time to give more in-depth into what FRS is doing to our audience. But before I go, let me quickly roll out few announcements that I feel a member needs to acquaint themselves on, and these are the upcoming program. The first of its kind, a program of the 17th president of our great institute, that is Mr. Innocent Chinyere Oagwa, FCTI. This investiture is strictly by invitation, but it's open to all our members to participate virtually. And from what you can see on the flyer, you have the meeting ID and the passcode specifically there. The Institute is actually managing our resources, and that's why we feel that we should make it an hybrid program for everybody to partake in. So come Saturday, the 14th day of the month of June, we will be investing the 17th president of our great institute, Mr. Innocent Chinyere Oagwa, FCTI, by 2 p.m. We encourage you to be part of the program. And the second of it is our MPTP program. I'm sure you know you are obliged to partake in MPTP program to have your credit hour if you must get anything from your institute. So the physical program for Warri region comes up on the 19th, that's Thursday, 19th June, by 10 a.m. The fee is 25,000, and for non-members is 30,000. Physical MPTP program in Warri, and we'll be talking of increasing Delta State tax revenue through application of recent development in international taxation and transfer pricing, and also business stay afloat. A case study, can Nigeria business stay afloat? Well, when you talked about multiple taxation. So Warri, I know they carry last, no, not carry first for here, and make sure that you all turn out to be part of the physical MPTP program for our program. The next of it is to the Center of Excellence. That is the second lab for the Lagos region. And that will be coming up again on Thursday, 19. But this time around is virtual participation. And we'll be talking on international taxation, the development in application of tax treaty and transfer pricing regulation. The second topic we speak to the impact of tax uncertainty on foreign direct investment in Nigeria. Make it a date. Definitely, if you go to all social media handle, you'll definitely get this flyer. And the last but not the least on my announcement list this afternoon speaks to the 8th annual International Academic Conference on Taxation. We have a call for paper. This will be coming up at the Lagos State University or JO come August 13th to 14th. We are all expected in the academic sector to come together for this 8th annual International Conference on Taxation. And the topic of discourse is taxation in a digital and globalized economy, challenges, opportunity, and sustainable solution. It's been a very wonderful time. for every one of us. I want to encourage you to visit our social media handle wherever you are. Visit us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. Visit the WhatsApp channel to get an update of happening in your institute. You can't get it better without you getting involved. And we want to tell you that we are coming much more better. Just like FRS has informed us that ProMax has been repackaged. We are repackaging and relaunching CITN Taxation and You. Make it a date with us. First Thursday in the month of July, where we'll be speaking to another topical issue, where you get an insight into what is happening in our profession and in the economic space. I want to make special appreciation to our sponsors, starting from the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. A big thank you to the executive chairman for obliging us and supporting us to make sure that we get to our audience every month and giving them an in-depth knowledge of what is happening in the taxation space. Also, we want to specially recognize the executive chairman, Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, for extending that hand of love to make sure that our members, even non-members, benefit of the current happenings that are actually going on in the tax space. Thank you very much. And not, forgetting that dynamic woman. They say what a man can do, a woman can do better. She's doing great things. And you can see that I'm guesting 2 women on my show today. And that's why I will give kudos to the executive chairman of the Kwara State Internal Revenue Service for supporting this program and making sure that we keep improving on it every month. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until I come your way, first Thursday in the month of July, I remain your anchor, Olusesan Okwade, FCTI. Till then, stay put, celebrate the democracy, have faith in your country, because I can assure you, Nigeria will be great again. Bye for now.
CITN Taxation and You program, as approved by Council of CITN, is a monthly 1-hour live program on Zoom platform and also broadcast on YouTube. The program has benefited stakeholders within the country's tax arena, bridging knowledge gaps for both members and general public. It has covered key areas such as CITN activities, taxation, fiscal policy, tax legislation, and economic matters. Throughout the year, various experts in tax practice, administration, and academia were invited to address the themes, leading to a consistent rise in participation. This has made the program not only interactive, but also educational. Looking ahead to 2025, the program promises to be more educative and inclusive as we will continue to explore emerging and trending issues in taxation, finance, and economic matters. To sustain this educative and interactive program, the program is open for sponsorship. For sponsorship details, please contact the Head of Corporate Communication, Dr. Kemi Oluwagbami,